just like to have a talk about government policy, if we may. The federal government apparently is pursuing an agriculture white paper. What are the big themes for you, Gary, in this paper?
Well, the key theme for us is that food processing and agricultural production are inextricably linked. I mean, the biggest share of agricultural production in Australia, almost 40%, goes into food and beverage processing. So this is not about shifting profitability from primary production or to processing or the other way around. It should be about growing the pie, really, and accepting that the health of the food processing plant, the financial viability, helps determine the viability of the primary producer.
So we're relying on state and national parks and so on, and our beekeepers move around. So whilst for us to grow, we're going to need more access and sustainable access. So our beekeepers can invest in their business, or their farmers, or whatever you want to say, can invest in their business, and there's some long-term outcomes. There's got some security.
Okay. In terms of the overlap, John, between state and federal governments?
New South Wales has an opportunity. We're investing in the infrastructure. We're opening trade offices overseas. We're going out on missions. We've had the Deputy Premier out in Dubai, in Singapore, in Hong Kong. In Singapore alone, we also have opportunities where now our product is actually on the shelf of those main supermarkets. So the government has a role to play to facilitate, to invest. R&D is another area that we do need to see both the federal and state government working together through R&D. So yeah, look, there are areas, and of course, from the labour costs, energy costs, and we touched on that earlier. There's issues around there, both electricity and gas. But there's overlap, and we need to work together.
I'd certainly endorse some of the things that John said in terms of enabling firms to have that access overseas through free trade agreements, encouragement to R&D expenditure, manufacturing policy, and then in a broader sense, the supply or the primary production base in Australia, if that's going to grow to the extent that the government's talked about in terms of potentially doubling the productive capacity, then infrastructure spending is going to be necessary around water efficiency, storage, rail, port, those types of things. And then from a mid-market perspective, that has a significant flow-on effect, similar to the resources boom has had, where contractors, service providers, and the like, will benefit greatly from that infrastructure spending. So with government focusing on that, I think it's a very, very positive thing for the economy.
Okay, all right. Well, I think on that note, we'll leave it. We've run out of time. Thanks very much to all of our viewers for watching. I hope you really enjoyed the series.